So do we have any guests today, visiting Rotarians, first of all? No visiting Rotarians? Guests, could you introduce our speakers and our guests today, I guess, Steve?
Today I'm going to have the speakers Corey Neely, who represents WPPI, which is the energy or power supplier for the city of Lake Mills, and Paul Hermanson, the superintendent of Lake Water, Department of Public Works.
Welcome to our Rotary meeting. And we have our Rotary Students of the Month here. Very pleased to welcome them here today. And today's your chance to give a little background on yourself and your brief presentation. And if you don't mind, I think that might be videoed as well. I'm not sure how long the videotape will run. Okay, do we have any potential new members here? No, we do not. I don't see them anyway. But the board did take a vote on membership for Jim Seidel and Tom Whitting and Shannon Strike. And just for I guess we should have minutes on that. There was a motion by Greg Westcott, second by Jim Shaw, to approve those three persons. Again, that's Jim Seidel, Tom Whitting, and Shannon Strike as new members of the Lake Mills Rotary, which means after the board approval, that motion passed, by the way, that means after board approval, there's a second reading, and that will occur at this meeting. This is the second reading. So after today, unless we hear some objections, those three people will can be inducted into the Lake Mills Rotary. Okay? So they're not here, but welcome to those three members. I don't think we have a drawing today. And no birthdays today, so it's time for the students. Who would like to go first? As I recall, let's see, the students are Riley, Kyle, and Eli. So Kyle's going to go first.
All right. As some of you may know, I'm Kyle Gums, senior at the Lake Mills High School. So let's start off with my family. My mother and father is Jennifer Gums and Robert Gums. We've lived in this town for about 9 years now, moved from Sun Prairie. I have one younger brother, Tommy, who's a sophomore, and quite possibly could be up here in the next 2 years. Not too sure about that, but with the academic activities, I've been a band member for 4 years now. Also doing solo ensemble for a couple of years. Also started jazz band last year. I'm also part of the Optimist Club. I have been a member with them for 4 years, ever since I got into the high school. I've been student council for 3 years now, and link leader for 2 years, which at the high school, that's actually a very prestigious level. What link crew is, if you don't know, it's us juniors and seniors. We help the freshmen kind of get into the high school, kind of get used to the environment and the facilities, kind of show them around for the first day and throughout the year. I've been FFA 1 year. Wasn't that bad. And then, so other activities outside of school, I play football, and, well, not this year, sadly, but I've been playing football for 6 years, and this year I've had to take a medical break. And so I'm now coaching youth football this year with the 7th graders. I also play basketball, played all 4 years, soon to be all 4 years for high school. Golf, I've played 2 years at the high school. I know this may not be an exact sport or activity, but I've been a persistent weightlifter for 6 years now, thanks to Steve Murphy helping me get in the weight room middle school, and which has kind of brought me to the point of starting a club with a couple of my friends, and we kind of started a fitness club at the high school starting from last year. And also another activity or hobby of mine is volunteering. Love doing it. An example would be the construction of the soccer concessions. I helped out with that, with the plumbing and just kind of the maintenance of it and all that. Accomplishments would be varsity letters in football and golf. So far, 1 year for both of those. Also, leadership conference representative last year over at Jefferson for the Lake Mills High School. And also chosen to go to a leadership camp by the school sophomore year to a camp called Hobie, which was over at Madison. In the future, I hope to attend La Crosse University and major in athletic training, go into grad school and get a graduate degree in human performance with an emphasis in strength and conditioning. So, thank you.
Eli or Riley? Riley?
My name is Riley Knipple, and I'm a senior at Lake Mills High School. I live with my mom, Jody, my dad, Brad, and my younger brother, Blaze. He's also a sophomore with Kyle's brother. I hope to attend either UW-Madison or UW-La Crosse next fall, and I'm finishing off those applications right now. And as for my major, I'm still undecided, but I'm leaning towards something along the lines of psychology, possibly a school psychologist. I'm taking AP Psychology right now, and it's very interesting. One accomplishment of mine is by the time that I've finished high school, I'll have completed 3 AP courses: AP US History, AP English, and AP Psychology. I took these hoping that I'd be better prepared for my future after high school, and I feel very accomplished having done so. Some of my other accomplishments, along with my extracurriculars, include my acceptance into Link Crew, my acceptance into show choir, and my position as vice president of the show choir, prom court, varsity track, a lead role in the fall musical, which is Once Upon a Mattress, and if you don't know what that is, you can come and watch and find out more about it. It's at the mid-November. I'm a member of the Octagon Club, Environmental Club, Drama Club, Yearbook Committee, and more. And another thing that I like to do is volunteer. Me and my family like to volunteer at the St. Mark's Soup Kitchen in Madison, and we also donate food to the food pantry and do stuff like that whenever we get the opportunity. I love to stay involved, and I've had a really great 4 years, so I'm looking forward to see what my future brings.
Eli. Hi, my name is Eli Laposti, and I'm a senior at Lakeside this year. And I've lived in Lake Mills for 6 years with my mom, Erica, my dad, Miko, and my sister, Emma, who is actually a Rotarian in 2011. And I attend St. John Newville here in Lake Mills, and I volunteer there. I make the weekly church video. I'm also part of the service-oriented youth group that we have. We go around and we like rake houses of shut-in families and things like that. I also work 20 hours a week at Culver's, so that takes up a lot of time. In my free time, I like to build computers. Newsflash, I'm kind of a nerd. I play games with them, and I also like to do programming work for school with that. I also like to do all kinds of other little do-it-yourself electronics projects. This past year, I built a little boom box. Well, not little, it weighs about 40 pounds, but so it's technically portable, and it plays nice and loud, so we use that with our friends. And I also like to fix technology problems for my friends and neighbors. This past year, I fixed 2 phone screens for friends by replacing them, and I also helped my neighbors set up their new printers when they moved in. I've been a member of the Madison Youth Choirs for 7 years, and that's just been a really great experience. Unfortunately, I wasn't able to sign up again this year because I had a scheduling conflict. But for Lakeside, I participate in the school math team. We've been blessed with great success over the past few years. And I also play lead trumpet in various musical groups at Lakeside, the summer marching band, and also the jazz ensemble and brass ensemble. And I participate in WSMA state, WSMA every year, and I've been to state freshman and junior years. And then For the summer band trips, 2 years ago, we got to travel out east and march in the Washington, D.C. Independence Day Parade. And 2 years prior to that, we got to travel to Calgary, Canada for the Stampede Parade, which is the second biggest in North America. And computer maintenance club at school, we help keep the computers at school running. It's kind of like unpaid IT work. So one period a day, yeah. So one period out of the day, we go to class, and the kids all bring in, since we have one-to-one Chromebooks at school, we fix them for all the students, because that's a lot of dropped Chromebooks with broken screens. I was also a Badger Boy state representative for Lakeside last year. And in the future, I'm planning to pursue an engineering degree, probably in either computer or electrical engineering. I'm applying at quite a few places, so I don't know where I'll be going yet. And after that, I'd like to maybe work a few years at a big technology company like Google or Microsoft, or maybe start my own business if I have an idea along the way, and then go back to school for a master's degree or doctorate after that. So I'm really excited for my future, and I can't wait to be in college.
Thank you, students. I'm always impressed with how the students present themselves to a group of adults, and you just did a wonderful job. And I just want to point out that we are looking at the guidelines for how we select students of the month. And one of the ideas is, of course, to emphasize service, because that's what Rotary is about, service. And you three just are wonderful examples of service to your local communities and to even larger communities. You know, that free computer work, Eli, that's service. And so is coaching and working at St. Mark's, and so all the good service that you do. So wonderful examples of Rotary service above self. Okay, our program today is Steve Loki, and speaking about the city utilities with our guests. So,
all right. So, thank you guys for having me out here. Just want to start out by saying I'm not nearly, or never was, as good a student as these three kids here. But I'll try to do my best to give a good presentation for you guys. Once this warms up, yeah, I'm from WPPI. My name's Corey Neely. I had given a presentation here before on Focus on Energy. I don't know if you guys remember that at all. Today I want to talk about our WPPI customer survey, residential customer study. And we do this in all of our 51 members. And Lake Mills actually decided that they wanted to pay a little bit extra and get a little bit deeper study done, and so we have that report for you guys today. A little bit of background: WPPI is 51 customer-owned electric utilities, like I said. They're separate communities. They all essentially own a share of WPPI as a member utility. Think of it like a joint action agency that works together to purchase power, purchase resources, and provide services like myself to each of the communities, whereas if they were doing it on their own, they wouldn't be able to do that. So together they can compete with the large investor-owned utilities and provide a lot of the same services that those big companies can at the municipal level. So we wanted to find out a little bit more about our customers, what they want, what we're doing right and what we're doing wrong, and we wanted to make sure that we had a good picture of what we should be doing in the future. So in 2015, we added a couple different elements that we hadn't done in 2012 and 2010. We did a web-based survey. That's an attempt to get to a younger demographic and represent what they want as well. We found that in the past, people that were likely to have a phone number on file or have a home phone and answer it tend to be older and less representative of the whole community, as we would say. So And so, due to that, the past survey results may be a little bit skewed based on demographics. So, talking about demographics, our age in Lake Mills, average age was 59. So, compared to other WPPI communities, the average respondent was 59 years old. They also had a little bit more money in their pockets, which probably comes from being a little bit older, I hope. And they have a higher education, so that might have a little bit to do with the average income being a little bit higher than the average WPI total. We have a lot more female respondents at Lake Mills. 60% of our respondents were female, and about 89% of them owned their own home. The length of residence was also longer for Lake Mills, which is also helpful for us to know, for those that have been here a long time, they have a little bit better idea of how they really feel about the utility. So we'll skip that part, get in some of the detailed findings. Overall, we've got an 8.7 mean out of a 1 through 10 score, satisfaction with the utility overall. That number does drop a little bit with the value for price paid. Obviously, people sometimes feel like, I should get more for what I pay into it. But that's still pretty high. 8 out of 10 say that, or they score an 8 out of 10 for that. It's well run. That's another thing that these little squares mean that, or little triangles mean that that's higher than all the WPPI numbers as a whole. So compared to other 51 community members, that's significantly larger. So one thing that we found that we need to work on is communication satisfaction, and that's a hard thing that we always struggle with at utilities. How do you communicate to your customers? Do you send them billing inserts? A lot of people take the billing inserts, throw them right in the garbage right away. They don't even think about it to do it. But what is a better way to communicate with them? Email, text, all that type of stuff. When we have communications that we need to get out there, and that's something we always talk about. How do we communicate with our residents and make sure that they get the messages that are important to us? So, like I said before, we've got a higher overall satisfaction value than the WPPI members as a whole. And one thing that they talked about, we're essentially neutral to the utility, or higher than the average of the WPPI members. Some of these are statistics are a little bit confusing sometimes. The importance of providing very few outages. So not having your power go out, that's pretty important. So that's generally, across the mean with most other people is a 96% for the WPPI. 100% of the people responding say we don't like when our power goes out. So that's why that's why we spend a lot of money on our infrastructure here. But outages happen for various reasons. Sometimes they're on the transmission end, and sometimes they're on the distribution end, which the distribution's in town. We spent a lot of money, on upgrading our distribution to make sure that if we do have an outage, it's because of transmission, not because of the distribution. Outside of weather events, which you really can't control, we'd rather not have anything happen to our system that we can't control on our own. So. Some other things that are very important, providing excellent customer service, being trustworthy. They want to make sure that you're not messing with their bills and all that type of stuff. And that's something that, I think as a public utility, you have that trust. We're not investor owned. We don't send, dividends out to our shareholders. The city is our shareholder, and the money is returned in lieu of taxes. So, yeah, and some of the things that were less important was being locally owned, which some folks didn't even know that we were locally owned as well, so might go along with that. So we talked a little bit about that. The WPI total was 67, we were 68%. And some reason for that would, some people will say, oh, it's community support, personal interaction, they get to talk to their neighbors. And then a smaller percentage say, well, I just don't like big corporations, that's why it's important to me. So some of the reasons why people said that. And, you know, some of the folks that don't really know if we're environmentally friendly, and that's maybe a message that we need to convey a little bit more about some of the work we've done with solar and we've done with wind power and what our resource mix is from WPPI, which is probably the most carbon friendly in the state. At WPPI, we've done a lot of work, and to meet any regulations on emissions and things like that, we've done a lot of the hard work up front. But we need to do a little bit better job of communicating that with our members, because it's only at 72%, which is still higher than WPPI total, but it's kind of hard to communicate that type of stuff when we really spend a lot of time communicating some of the more important aspects that we have. Overall, our perception of the utility are about on par with WPPI as a whole. We're a little bit easier to do business with, according to our customers. And that's about it from that page. And I do have sheets, or these sheets out here on the table, if you guys want to take them and delve a little bit deeper into the statistics. You know, go right ahead. And I could send this out to anyone that would want it as well. So this was what I was talking about earlier about, you know, we know 60% of the people know that it's municipally owned, a municipally owned utility. About 40% don't even know that. And that's one thing we also struggle with, is letting people know that, hey, this is the value of public power. These are the things you get from being a public power utility. And then there's this 40% of them who just don't even know. They probably just think they're a We Energies customer because they get a We Energies bill too. So that's one thing I think as a whole, municipal utilities need to do a really good job of explaining what municipal utilities are, you know, why it's important to have municipal utilities, what are the benefits, those types of things as well. So yeah, we follow the line along with WPPI as far as satisfaction with communications, but it is still lower than what we would like it to be. I mean, about half believe that we offer useful tips as far as reducing their energy bills, which, I mean, I think that may be a matter of getting a little bit better communications on our billing, maybe sending out some other things along with that. One thing I always struggle with is explaining to people about focus on energy. I can get in a room with this many people, and probably about half of them understand what focus on energy is and understand that they're actually putting money into that program. So that's always a struggle. You know, communicating focus on energy information, and let people know that they can get money from that. One thing we try and do is partner with, you know, our local vendors. We've done some stuff with Ace Hardware and LED bulbs lately, to try and get people to try and transition towards LED bulbs. So, you know, offering more stuff about, you know, how to reduce your energy usage on the bills is something we'll look to do in the future. And so along here, because we had a higher age in the demographics, my guess is that we don't have as high of number of customers that want to use the website. That's very important, or that know we have a website. So, you know, only about 14% or so, or 20% know that you can pay your bill online. You know, that's the type of stuff that I think as demographics change, you'll see those numbers go up. And as we have better portals and much easier ways to do that down in the future, you'll see that those numbers climbing. You know, only 51% said it's very important that I be able to do this over the internet. You know, that I'd be able to pay my bill. And so here's the communication preferences as well. A lot of folks want to have phone communication, which is nice, in person. It's important that they can stop into the utility and talk to them. Email, website, text messages, social media, one thing right here, really not that important. And that's why, you know, I think we haven't done a whole lot with Facebook and communicating that way. You know, as the future kind of progresses, as we get a little bit better technology with possible, you know, AMI systems, things like that, we can communicate differently with our customers, and they can get a lot better information. You know, the quality of information that we're going to communicate with them is important to have before we try and make communications with them. So we want to have really good information to give them. Otherwise, you're just giving people kind of empty information. But that's about it. You guys have any questions about this? I mean, I try not to, dealing with this much statistics kind of takes you back to school and math class, but it can be a little bit boring.
Was I reading that right? There was 53 responses?
Through that.
53 answers from Lake Mills residents.
Yep, yeah. And so you usually get about 5%, but we oversampled. And the hard part with a lot of these things is they have to want to do it. And
That's
then,
what I mean,
yeah,
So
it,
10, 15-minute phone call, is that what it was?
yeah, about that. And or a web-based one, And that's the thing is take a lot of your surveys, you're getting those folks on a web-based one, they click through, and you don't know exactly what the quality of that data is sometimes. So, it's an exact science. We really do hope that our community members will tell us if something's wrong or if they want something, and we do get quite a bit of that. Paul's inbox is usually.
Never a negative phone call.
But yeah, I mean, we've got a lot of programs to offer for our residents, so we just need them to try and take advantage of it.
I don't know anything about power companies. I have the fantasy that, or the vague idea that a power company is located in one area and they serve people around them. It would be convenient to have the power lines running in their area, but I see that you're going from Iowa to Upper Michigan.
So we've got 51 members. So each municipal utility is a member. We've got a few members in Iowa, a few in Michigan, and then we've got up here. They all agree to purchase their power together from WPPI.
And you said in here you generate some of your own power or all of it?
We've got some. We have some that we get in power purchase contracts. So if it's cheaper on the open market to agree into those purchases, we'll do that. And also we found that it was cheaper at certain times to buy into power plants. We've got some peak power plants, like a combined cycle natural gas power plant. We've got some solar, we've got some wind, we've got a bunch of different things. For us, making sure that we have a diverse, array of sources allows us to keep our costs lower, but also protect us against any issues that might come with, let's say, we've had trouble with coal sometimes, with getting rail shipments in coal, and so our coal-fired power plants, the cost goes up on that. We're all operating on the MISO market, and so the MISO always says that we have to purchase power, or the power has to come from the least cost provider, so they'll only fire up certain ones. But let's say our peaker goes up, we get the excess money for producing there. So it kind of hedges our costs.
So the power that comes to Lake Mills, that you guys have bought at the best competitive price, comes through someone else's transmission line? And you
Well,
get
we
space
also
on
own,
it?
yeah, well, you've got American Transmission Company, which we own a stake in as well. So to hedge our costs on that too, we purchased in a stake on that, so.
Let me just
Yeah, go
add,
ahead.
the electric grid in America is really complex. I'm gonna give you a really simple explanation. There's three components to it. There's generation, transmission, and distribution. We're distribution. But at any point in time, the electricity that you're using in Lake Mills could be coming from anywhere in the United States. And what happens, and it's an incredible thing to watch, is people are sitting in rooms buying and selling electricity all day long. And so whoever has the cheapest energy at the time will sell it anywhere in the United States. So to say that the electrons that you're getting at your house come from WPPI, can't do it. But it's coming through WPPI. I think that's probably the simplest explanation. But the grid in the United States and how it's controlled and electricity is bought and sold is absolutely.
So, with that, thank you.
Interested in tickets, let me know.
Signer, huh?